105 FDR. You don't want to be a non-essential employee, do you?
No, you don't.
So, in fact, I was thinking about identifying the non-essential employees on the Imus in the Morning program, which I may do.
As we seek budget, responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, who do we actually really need here to still keep the program on the air? So, well, first of all, I could do sports. I mean, that's just,
of course.
So anybody can say out of bounds at the force.
Hey, come on. That was fast. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
The Dow Jones thing. I mean, how hard is that to talk about where that is?
You already do news.
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. So, but basically, it's Lou and I could do it.
Well, one thing we know is that the makeup guy has to stay for the host. That is an essential employee.
Leonard captured the gold medal at the 1976 Olympics in Montreal. He went on to win world titles in 5 different weight classes, defeating such rivals as Roberto Duran. Everybody, you did too. I saw all these fights. Tommy Hearns, the great Marvin Hagler. Mr. Leonard lives in California with his wife Bernadette and their 2 children. He looks like, you can see him on a monitor, he looks like he could still fight now. So his new book is called Sugar Ray Leonard, The Big Fight, My Life, In and Out of the Ring. Please welcome to the Imus in the Morning program, the great Sugar Ray Leonard. Good morning, champ.
Hey, Imus, how you doing?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
So when you decided to do this book, people would always be, you knew they would be interested in all these great fights you had, and we'll talk to you about those in a second. And maybe I'll get Warner Wolf. I'm sure you know Warner. Ask you a couple of fight questions. But when you decided to reveal some of the things you reveal in this book, what was the thought process that made you decide you were going to do that?
Well, naturally, when I first started this process, if you will, I was acting as a publicist. I was protecting myself. I felt I said the right things, and it took another year with my writer to reveal or be transparent or to just tell the whole story. And I felt good about that because I saw an interview with Todd Bridges on television, and he had revealed some of the things that I felt that I would keep close to my heart. And 30 years is a long time to hold on to something that no one knew anything about.
So this abuse that you suffered at the hands of these trainer, had you, before you sat down with Michael Arkus, that's the way you pronounce his name?
Yes.
Had you ever told anybody else other than him?
The only person I told was my first wife, Juanita. I had somehow mentioned it to her during a conversation, and it was kind of brushed off because how do you respond? I mean, what do you say? That was, back in the 80s. And then I told my present wife, Bernadette, I kind of mentioned it. After a few drinks, I said what had happened. And again, we kind of pushed it aside. It was awkward and very uncomfortable discussing that revelation.
What was her response? She didn't make much of it, or?
No, I mean, it was just I said it, and that was basically it. It was a pause, and we moved on.
I know you just said, we're talking to Sugar Ray Leonard, is a remarkable book. He used the word transparent. Boy, it is, in terms of what he went through in his life and stuff you just never think about. Just a marvelous athlete, and I was mentioned before, not to patronize him, but it looks like he could still fight. How old are you?
I look at my life, and I'm a very blessed man. I had an illustrious boxing career. I had a wonderful family. My mother and father are still living. God bless them. My dad will be 89 June 9th, and my mom is a feisty 82-year-old lady. And brothers and sisters. I have a great life. And
how old are you now?
I'm 55.
So you're not thinking about something like, remember like George Foreman used to do, or Well, remember, who was it the other night? So 46.
Bernard Hopkins,
Yeah.
46.
That dude looked pretty good, didn't he?
He looked fantastic. I was so impressed.
Yeah.
If I did do that, it would be choreographed.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like professional wrestling, right? Anyway, back to so you mentioned about being transparent and all that. So what is this abuse? Is this something that you thought about a lot? I mean, it's kind of it's not a great question, but I mean, was this something that was just always on your mind? It was always right at the forefront of your mind, or was it something that you'd suppressed and it came out when you decided to do the book, or what? But what exactly happened? What effect did it have on you throughout your boxing career?
I don't really know. I must be honest with you, but I know it came out when I would drink heavily that my emotional stability would break down, and I would go back to those moments, and I would just break down. I would just cry, and the crying did help. It felt better, releasing that pain. I don't know. I just don't know. It's one of those things.
I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict as well, so I'm not asking these. I ask these questions. I probably already know the answer, but did you drink and do drugs when you fought?
No, I never did. I was one of the most disciplined fighters, I believe. But it was always during a break.
Sure.
And then it escalated as I got, I was retired a number of times. And when I separated from my wife, Juanita, it got very difficult for me to be at home by myself because I was the kind of person that didn't like being by myself. And it got worse.
Yeah, I actually meant during the years that you fought, I didn't mean were you snorting lines, in between rounds. or were you drinking vodka? Will that water bottle have vodka? No, I didn't mean that, champ.
No, I didn't.
Now, Warner, do you have any boxing questions for Mr. Leonard?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, let me. Sugar Ray, I meet Warner Wolf. Warner, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Hey,
Warner.
Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Ray Charles Leonard.
Yes, sir.
Ray, if you were in your prime right now and you were going to fight Manny Pacquiao in, say, 6 months, how would you fight him?
With a huge fly swatter.
What?
He's so fast. He's so quick. But I would find ways to kind of nullify his hand speed. I mean, Manny Pacquiao is just an anomaly. He's so gifted with hand speed, with movement, radar. It would be quite a contest.
Is that a 12? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Warner. You go ahead.
Would you win a 12-round decision, Ray?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Well, no point going into it, is it, champ? And thinking you're going to lose.
No.
When you fought that famous Roberto Duran fight, what led up to? I mean, there was a lot of controversy between you and Mr. Duran, but why do you think he quit? So no mas.
I thought at the time I think it was just humiliation and frustration that kind of short-circuited his way of thinking, and he threw his hands up in disgust without realizing the ramifications it would have on his legacy. But I think it was just frustration.
And when you fought the great Marvin Hagler, many boxing people thought that you were both older than you should have been when you fought. But did you think that at the time? Or?
Not at all. I was 30 years old. I mean, is 30 years old? Is that old?
Not to me, it's not.
Not
it is
to
for
me
life, but just a joke, Ray.
It was a good joke. But no, I was 30. I felt I was in the prime of my career. I was strong. I was quick, and it was the right time.
The message, if there is one, I don't know if that's what you have in mind or not, from this book for young fighters, we see them all the time, these kids in Golden Gloves and in the Olympics and kids turning pros. Probably still abuse going on today, don't you think?
I would imagine for sure, but I just think that they just need to be more open and trust someone. I mean, I had good people with me throughout my career, and that made a huge difference. Makes a big difference.
Well, it's a terrific book. I know you said at the beginning of our conversation what a weight it was lifted from your shoulders, revealing all of this stuff. I bet it is. I mean, it's almost like that first AA meeting you go to, and you stand up and you tell people you're an alcoholic, you're a drug addict, and man, it's like they're taking a safe off your chest, So, well, I hope it's a big bestseller for you, champ. Thank you very much for taking the time to come in and talk with us.
Thank you, Imus.
The great Sugar Ray Leonard, The Big Fight, My Life in and Out of the Ring, some of the great stories and some of the great boxing matches in history, and also a great personal story, one of the more enigmatic figures. And he also won Dancing with the... Didn't you win Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned.
Well, the edition you didn't win, or you did win?
I did not win.
Oh, you didn't win?
Hans Ward.
Oh, okay. But but did you think you were in you did
It's
an edition
on my
of it?
resume.
Oh, okay, it is. Are you proud of that now?
I'm very proud of that.
You should be. Well, you look good.
Thank you.
All right, champ. Thanks very much. 11 minutes now till the hour.
We might for next time. Got to check on that.
Rescue efforts were still ongoing for the others. No update on how that is going, though, at this point. And the utility that owns... Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
We got an Italian... We got hold it. We have a boat capsizing with 200 people off board. They've rescued 47. 150 are still unaccounted for, and you're roaring.
No, I'm sorry. I was reading an email here.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and I wasn't listening to you, and I inappropriately laughed, obviously. What's the matter, Connell?
It's always on the worst possible story.
Just the worst
It's never like a
possible
feel-good kicker story that Charles is doing. It's always death and destruction.
Well, here's the emails. The guy says, this is Paul from somewhere. Says, I'm 54 years old, and I used to listen to Imus on my drive to high school every morning. How is it possible that he's still alive?
That was worth it.
Yeah, that was worth it.
It's pretty funny, isn't it? 10 minutes after the hour, well, there's Charles with more horrible news.
I can't explain it.
No, we don't know either. Who the hell knows?
There's no God. That's all there is to it.
Yes.
He's still what? No way, not him.
I read it, I laughed out loud.
No,
Well, obviously, at the wrong time.
now I can't even read about Fukushima.
This next one says, we are just an hour into the show, and I am already on Joe Beaver overload. It makes me long for the days when you were smoking Marlboros, drinking vodka, and peeing in phone booths.
Oh, yeah.
Now, see, you've caused that problem, Bernie.
Me?
Because I didn't pee in phone booths, plural.
Oh, you did one phone booth?
Yes.
A number of times.
No, once.
No, that's the one time you got busted, but we have to conclude that if there were other times that nobody saw you do it. I mean,
Well, no.
there were many times when I walked by that phone booth and I saw a puddle coming out.
That's not.
On this
All right,
particular time, it was
okay,
Howard Stern busted you, and he made it public, and that's why it got all this attention. But there had to be other times. I mean, where you just took a leak where you felt like it.
In an era when phone booths were commonplace,
Yes.
were
All
they
right.
not burned?
One time I was on the way, it was around 3 in the morning,
Oh, here we go.
and I was on my way to a Lane's. I was on 2nd Avenue.
Sure.
And I did pee in a phone booth on 2nd Avenue.
Okay.
So there you go.
See, everybody
I've
pees.
never revealed that information until
Checkmate.
now.
Everybody pees in a pool, just not from the diving board.
All right.